Today we're being joined by the newest GWS AFLW recruit, Aliesha Newman. Aliesha, thanks for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me.
No worries. So tell us a bit about yourself, what got you into footy and your AFLW journey so far.
So getting into footy, I think it's a little bit of a different story. So I grew up doing little athletics and soccer because mum always said I was too small to play footy. So steered me in a less contact route, which was probably ideal for my history of concussions. But so kind of got into footy a little bit different to most people. So went down to a rookie day with Melbourne. Was last listed on their list in the inaugural year in 2017, spent 4 years on their list, then requested a trade over to Collingwood, spent 2 years over there during COVID, and then wasn't offered a contract at Collingwood, so headed over to the Swans for 2 seasons, where I absolutely loved, and then, unfortunately didn't get a contract there either, so now I'm over at the Giants.
So you obviously mentioned there being a part of Melbourne in 2017. How was your time like at Melbourne, being in your home state at the time and playing a fair few games, 25 games exactly, with 11 goals? I see you enjoyed the time of the D's.
I love my time at Melbourne. I only speak fondly and couldn't speak highly of them. Absolutely love my time there. Love the coaching staff, love the group. Just thought for myself at the time, spending 4 years there, that I needed a change. And I guess sometimes the grass isn't always greener on the other side. So, I absolutely love my time in Melbourne.
And then you mentioned with Collingwood, obviously not getting contract in the end, but how was it like though in those 2 years, playing 14 games, 5 goals? So you seem to be playing pretty regularly at both all teams.
I enjoyed my time at Collingwood. It was a completely different experience to what I experienced at Melbourne. Going through, changing clubs during COVID. They had a big emphasis on the Do Better report when I was there. So, I definitely had my hands full when I was at Collingwood. But, absolutely, still speak to a lot of the girls there. My best mate, Chloe Malloy, who I was playing with at Swans. She came over. So, I enjoyed my time at Collingwood as well.
Now, obviously, the Swans one some more reasons. So we'll talk a little bit more about the Swans one compared to the previous 2 clubs before that. But how was your time at Sydney? Obviously, playing 19 games there, being a regular there, playing your 50th game in your career there in the competitions. So how was your time at the Swans?
I think anyone that asks me that question knows how much I love the Swans and absolutely love my time there. It was a challenge in itself to move away from family and friends and head to a new state. But, I have absolutely loved the time that, I had at Sydney. And, as I said, everybody that knows me knows how much I enjoyed my time there. And, coaching staff and the group of girls that they've got at the Swans are, an incredible group. And being young, I might not look as old as what I am, but I loved being around the younger group and just teaching and learning from them as well. It was incredible. I loved my last 2 years.
Sure, and 2080 is not old, especially in general as well. Why do you think that the Swans had a rapid rise this year? Obviously, as you would be fully aware, in the first season didn't have a win in the inaugural season, but this year was a fantastic year for the Swans, probably the best side all year in terms of the improvement from not winning a game to playing finals and then winning a final against Gold Coast must have been pretty good, and to be a part of that for yourself as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a big shift after our first year. We knew we had to do a lot of work in the off season, and that's not just from a player's perspective, that was from coaches as well. We didn't get much time to build a game plan and work around what we had. So we kind of just had to wing that season. And it's pretty much what we did, and it showed. There was no continuity. There was no, we had a big, very large group of our squad that had never played AFLW before. I think there was only a handful of us that had. The inexperience of the group definitely showed in that first year. And once we had that first season under our belt, we knew the younger girls had a lot of hunger to be able to come out in that following year and know that we weren't going to produce exactly what we did the previous year. Coaches did a lot of work. They did a lot of work on game plans, how we moved the ball, coming in, bringing in a couple of new players with Chloe and Laura and Lucy, a few of the Irish girls as well. I mean, you can't always build a team around those sorts of girls, but when you have the likes of having Ali Morford as our ruck and having 3 All-Australians, like it definitely helps.
Sure, and you mentioned Ali too. What a great young ruckman. She's could even be argued to be the best ruckman in the competition at a young age. Must be proud to see the achievement of her. And Laura Garner too. We also had Geelong previously, and I had Scotty on, the coach, about a month or 2 ago, just after the finals. And he's mentioned too about Laura was actually pigeonholed to play as a small forward, and then I think it was match sim or something. He played in the midfield and never looked back from there.
Yeah, for sure. I think clearly Geelong missed out on someone very special, and I'm sure they're kicking themselves now because, Laura has been amazing. She's one of my closest friends up in Sydney as well. Been doing a little bit of training down here when I'm back in Melbourne, when I head down to Geelong. But yeah, she's unreal. She's such a quiet achiever. Hates the spotlight. Hates being asked questions in a group setting, but just goes about her business and absolutely kills it. And we knew from the first week or so coming into preseason what we'd got our hands on, and it was just so exciting for us to see how much she achieved in that season, and she's only going to continue to go up.
Sure, she absolutely will. Now, obviously, your 50th game is a massive achievement in its own right, but to play it in your 50th game and to have a good win against Geelong and 3 goals in that game must be pretty impressive, and just overall sums up a good game overall for you.
We missed out on the win, but
yes,
besides the loss, for myself personally, I mean, coming in not playing a game of footy, on a list at any form, and come on and to think that I'm still playing and notched up 50 games is really exciting for me as an individual, but. I wouldn't be where I am now if it wasn't for the 3 previous clubs, or now talking past tense, 3 previous clubs. And I couldn't say highly enough of all 3 of them. And I'm just glad that I'm still playing and can still perform. And I don't know where I pulled that 3 goals from, but I'll definitely take it.
For sure. And obviously there's a good photo going into the celebration. I think we're showing the pride in the Sydney jump too. I can't remember exactly what game that was, but obviously a big moment as well in that game.
Yeah, that was our win against Gold Coast in the final.
That's right.
That was the first time I got to pull on the jumper, which I designed. So, in the week before Indigenous round, I got concussed up in Adelaide against Port Adelaide, and didn't get to pull on the jumper. So it was a really special moment for me to be able to, not only have the club, I guess, say that we could wear that in a final is in itself is really exciting, but to kick a goal in it, I literally just got goosebumps then. Like it's really exciting, and I'm so glad that that moment was captured because it's something that I'll cherish forever.
Sure. Now, I was going to mention about the Indigenous Guernsey design. How did you come with that design, and how did you feel when you were told by the club that you were allowed to go ahead and make the design?
Yeah, I think it's an absolute privilege to be able to design anything, and I did a little bit of design with boots previously. I designed Melbourne's first Indigenous jumper with the help of Manny Nicholson as well, and helped design a couple more. I did do my very own, but that was the year we had COVID, and unfortunately round 9 was non-existent due to COVID. So that was the round we were supposed to wear it in. So never seen the light of day, but I've done a little bit of designs with jumpers down in VFL as well, down for Williamstown. So I love that sort of stuff. And when Sydney approached me to be able to do that design, it was an honor. And I jumped at it in both hands, and kind of just I spoke to a few of the girls and trying to get an understanding of, I guess, what I had experienced at the club already in that first season, and just to, I guess, it's a very family orientated club, and the bond and connection that we had as teammates was something very special and something I haven't felt before at any club I've played at. So I really wanted to emphasize that and know that, no matter who pulls on the jumper, everybody, the 34 that we had on our list at the time, we're all a part of it. And I absolutely loved it.
Now, I don't know how you feel about this, but I find this a bit interesting that, you'd play pretty much when you weren't concussed every game for the Swans, and then I think you mentioned before about not being offered a contract, and on the Giants website you said it was out of your hands. Can you care to elaborate a little bit on that, and why do you feel that was the option when you were playing every week?
Yeah, look, to be fair, it was a little bit of a surprise to me as well. yeah, I put on the jumper at every opportunity I could, and I actually, for me and for others that have spoken to me, like this past season was my career best season. So for me, going into my exit interview, I didn't have that on my radar. I didn't have going to another club on my radar, but unfortunately that's the club that's the way the club was going, and it's heading in a direction of growth and youth, and I kind of don't fit that mold anymore. So no hard feelings from the Swans. We were in communication the whole time, but yeah, I guess that's sport.
Yes, that's fair. Now, you mentioned obviously being now the Giants, and in that interview you mentioned that you wanted to stay in Sydney. What was any particular reason why you wanted to stay in Sydney when I'm sure you would have had an opportunity to go back home or somewhere else?
I think, the Giants showed a lot of interest, like even after playing them in round one, and I was in constant communication with them for a lot of the season with my manager. So I knew that there was interest there, and I've loved my time in Sydney, and the lifestyle is elite, like beaches, weather is so much better than here. I just love my time. I love the group of friends I've got made at Sydney, and I'm sure I'm going to continue to make friends at the Giants as well. But like living with the Swans, and I lived with four of the girls in the first year, and ended up moving across with one of my housemates from the first season, and then a few different ones. But it was an incredible journey that I went on, and I just wanted to, as if I could, as I said, there was a lot of interest from the Giants, and I couldn't really take up the opportunity of potentially losing a 2-year contract to potentially come back home, and with the unknown, where I knew what Giants were presenting to me. So I was happy to take that, and continue to play until I'm 30.
That's good. So obviously now the Giants. Now, obviously you mentioned they had some interest or a lot of interest throughout the year, and it was likely to head that way at that point when Sydney hadn't offered. But who are you looking forward to playing alongside, and why the Giants in terms of like what appeals them to you in terms of the way they play and everything like that?
Yeah, they're a really young side, the Giants. I think they've been the youngest side in the competition for the last few years. I think for me, I love a challenge. I love Giants haven't been really performing to the standard that they and I guess the competition has expected them to, being an inaugural club. So to have an opportunity to come into a squad and do something potentially similar to what we've done at the Swans, and again, we didn't have our best season in the first year, but come out and play finals in the second year. Yeah. So that's a goal of mine, to be able to help this squad, this young squad, into some success. And I guess in regards to people that I'm excited to play with, I think I don't really know a lot about the Giants, to be honest with you. I just coming from the Swans, it's just a rivalry of the Swans and Giants. So I don't know a hell of a lot about them, which I think is exciting. I like that. I like the prospect of coming in. They probably don't know a lot about me either. So that kind of unknown I like. I have played with a few of the girls before. So Smitty, Jazz Grierson, and Pepper Randall I played with when I was at Melbourne. I do know a few of the girls. I'm excited to play with Elise Parker, Beck Beeson, a few of those inside midfielders that'll deliver me the ball quite nicely, I think. They've got some characters at the Giants, and I'm just looking forward to kind of stepping in and trying to make an impact as much as I can.
It must be pretty cool too to play alongside a young gun. We speak about the Swans when you're at Sydney Valley, Morford, Laura Garner, some young guns there. But not only to play with a rising star of the Giants, but the rising star, and Zali Goldsworthy must be pretty cool. And not have to first serve for once.
I'm excited. She seems like a bit of a character as well. So I'm excited to. They've got a good group of forwards down there as well. So I'm excited to use the experience that I've got, and kind of just learn off them as well. It's going to be an exciting time.
Now, obviously, we don't know how the fixturing works, but I'm sure the Giants and Swans will match up because that's just how they generally like to do it. So how do you feel the first encounter would be against the Swans? And do you think some players would have a few choice words, either or back your way to them?
No, I honestly don't think so. Yeah, the love that I've got for that squad is is ridiculous. I still speak to them all now. And yeah, I think if it was my choice to go to the Giants, maybe there would definitely be some choice words. But yeah, they knew how much I love the Swans, and yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm super excited, and I cannot wait to verse them all because look, I'm as soon as I've got white line fever, and I know that all of the girls will. And we've already said, I'm like, just don't hurt me too much. And they're like, no, it'll just be on the field. Off the field will be fine. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think we're going to get in any fights or anything like that. Like, yeah, the group of girls are great. And at the end of the day, it's literally like we're going out there to play footy. And yeah, at the end of the day, we'll walk off the ground. I'll give them a handshake or a hug at the end, and I'm sure we'll probably have dinner that night. So yeah, it'll be completely fine. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not nervous at all. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to it.
That's good. Nice and civil. That's the way it is. Well, it should be most of the time anyway. Now, you kicked a goal of the year in 2018, which I actually did not know about. But how was that moment for you to win goal of the year in 2018 representing for Melbourne against the Crows? And do you remember it? I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I do remember it. Yeah, it was a absolute fluke. I'm still not sure how I managed to win it, but yeah, I kind of fly under the radar a little bit, which is nice. But yeah, like I guess you don't play a team sport to get individual accolades all the time, but yeah, I guess coming into my second season of AFL and footy in general, and to win an award like that is really exciting, and yeah, something I'm very proud of. And yeah, I don't know if it'll like ever happen again. And yeah, the way that I did it makes me look like I'm so much faster than what I am. And I actually ended up playing with the girl that was chasing me, Talia Redan, at Melbourne I think it was my last year at Melbourne. So the girls love to give her a stick about that one. But yeah, it was a fluke first touch of the game, and managed to kick it. So yeah, very proud of it.
Well, that's good, and I would be too. Man, if it's a fluke or not, it still happened. The history shows that as well. So what do you get up to when it's not pre-season or you're not in season? Do you go back home? I think you mentioned before being home at the moment. What do you get up to in this small off period that you have?
Yeah, small being the operative word there. Yeah, so usually like at the end of the season, we do all of our like BNF and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I drove back down with one of my best mates, Paige, down to back down to Melbourne. Spent Christmas down here, and then yeah, pretty much I'm literally heading back to Sydney tomorrow. So drive back and then get back. So I work full time as well. So we'll start back there and yeah, kind of get stuck into training and meeting all the girls.
That's good. So Daniel Ponce kicked a great goal, as I'm sure you're fully aware, at the start of the year at Icon Park, that long one from the centre square. Do you feel you'd be able to replicate that, or any former Swans teammates that would be able to, or who think they can, but they really, really can't?
Oh, geez. Nah, that was a roost and a half, I reckon. Chloe Malloy's got a very, very, very large kick. I reckon if it was wet like it was that day and it just decides to skid, I definitely reckon she's got the leg for it. Ali Morfitt has an absolute belter as well. But yeah, probably, I don't know who would think they would. I've got no idea. Maybe Soph Hurley. She loves a torp. Or Bella Smith. She also loves a torp. So maybe if they got hold of it, potentially. But yeah, I doubt it.
I'm pretty sure, I think off the top of my head, I've had 8 Sydney players on this year, and that exact same question, I think almost all of them bar one mentioned Chloe and they mentioned Morph. So that shows. And one other player they mentioned, I don't know what you think, was Cynthia Hamilton. Apparently she's got a big roost off her as well. Do you feel she could be a chance as well?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, she's definitely got a good big kick on her. So yeah, get her. Don't get her after training. don't get anyone after training really, but before training, I definitely reckon she'd be able to make the distance for sure.
That's good. Any nicknames you got given at the Swans or any of the clubs you've been a part of, or if any of the Giants girls, some of the ones that you already know personally, are they giving you any nicknames that you like or dislike, or just nice and cruisy and basic?
Nah, I've stuck with Newey for the whole. I didn't have a nickname coming into Melbourne, and the head coach Mick just came up. Well, we didn't come out with Newey. It's pretty standard, I think, if your surname's Newman. And I've literally just stuck with that for the whole time.
Was there any coaches' pets at the Swans in particular that were with Scotty a lot?
Coaches' pets. That's a good one.
Some people stay clear sometimes, and some people make it blatantly obvious who it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus here. There's probably a fair few.
That's completely fair enough. So any outside of footy interests that you have? Anything outside of footy that you like doing?
I love painting. I've been doing a whole lot of indigenous artwork. I kind of do that when I've got a bit of time, and otherwise there's not really a hell of a lot of time we do have, to be honest. So it's either training or working. I've got I love going down to the beach, but not to swim, just to tan. That's nice. I hate the water, so I'll go down to Clovelly, which is because I also hate sand. So Clovelly doesn't have any sand, so that's my ideal beach. But that's only if we get enough time. Don't really get a lot of that.
That's fair. Now, this might be an interesting. Any favorite TV shows or movies, or like you said, you don't get enough time?
Favorite TV show, I reckon I've watched Schitt's Creek about 555,000 times. I reckon I could recite the whole lot. I've watched. It's just something I always have in the background. I haven't really watched too much else, to be honest. I watched recently just watched The Bodyguard on Netflix. Really like that. Started Fool Me Once. That was a good one too. I'm not finished yet though. But love my crime shows.
Nice. So as you mentioned with Schitt's Creek, you said watching it so many times, you probably won't have enough time to watch much else if you're watching the same thing over and over again. But in saying that, I do the exact same thing with certain fish shows, so I know exactly how you feel.
Yeah. Well, that's very true.
And you mentioned too about reciting words. Like I said, with some of these shows that you rewatch, like you mentioned, you can remember word for word what's coming. You see a scene going, oh yeah, this is where this is and that happens, and it just shows how invested you are in the show too, and how much you're actually listening.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
If you could poach any player or players from another club that joined the Giants, who would it be? It can be as unrealistic as you want.
Oh, I'm going to have to say my best mate and Chloe. Who wouldn't want Chloe Malloy on their team? Far out. I would love to play with Chelsea Randall.
Yeah.
I reckon she would be an absolute gun. Kind of watching her the whole, her whole career, playing against her too. She's next level. Who else?
You mentioned you give some good names there, some good choices there, and obviously the Chloe one, obviously that'd be hard to pry out of the club that she just joined. But then again, so did you. So it's interesting. But it's two good choices there. I'll go to the next one. So who's the toughest opponent you've had to match up on so far in your career?
Toughest opponent? That's a great question. I reckon Sophie Casey. I got the privilege to play with her for 2 years at Collingwood. And obviously being she's a small defender as well. She just, the way she uses her body is next level. Can read the ball really well. I reckon Soph would have been probably the hardest opponent I reckon I've come up against.
Good. What if you could say, who would you feel is the best player in the competition? Because really, honestly, I just find it so hard. I know Mon Conti won the BNF votes by 7 votes, but I think it's more even than that. Obviously, you got a few ex-teammates, Laura Garner, Chloe Malloy as well, Ash Riddell, Jazz Garner, Ebony Marinoff, plenty of names. That's how even it really is. Who do you feel is the best player in comp?
I reckon Jazz Garner. I reckon she's been the best in the comp for a fair few years, and for some unknown reason isn't getting the recognition that she should. I reckon, yeah, she was a bit stiff to not poll as high as what she did this season. Not only does she get disposal, she kicks goals. Yeah, I think she's the genuine package. And yeah, she should be definitely up there with winning a BNF in the next couple of years for sure.
For sure. I mean, I know you probably can't say much, but I think it was very odd how the voting worked for that night. Obviously, Laura Garner had a terrific year. Was probably one of the best mids the whole year. Didn't even poll in the close in the top 5. Charlie Rowbottom was probably one of the best young players in the comp, and she only got like 6 votes. The same with Laura. I found it very odd how some of the best mids in the competition were so far down the list.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's funny how the voting works sometimes. Yeah, I actually have no idea how it works, but all I know is that one year I stole a vote off Britt Benici, so they clearly just look at helmets and think, yep, that's that one. But yeah, I think yeah, I'm not sure how the voting works, but they definitely need to take a keen eye on girls that are racking up disposals and kicking goals, because that's usually what it takes to get votes. And yeah, for some reason they aren't getting them.
Now, I'm not sure what you think on this. Obviously, in the men's competition, I've heard that exact same thing. They need to take that to be noticed. Should they be allowed to check stats after games? I know for a fact they don't, because I've heard some AFL umpires say they're not allowed to look at stats that just go off once their game's done. They vote for it right then and there. Do you feel they should be allowed to kind of look at the stats to, like, not necessarily to make a judgment, but like to kind of, if they're debating a few names, to be able to look?
Oh, I've got no idea. Yeah, whatever makes it easier for them, I guess. Yeah, I don't really know how it works, and yeah, I didn't even know they weren't allowed to check stats. So yeah, I'll be playing the game and hoping for a vote every now and then. But yeah, I'll let them do. They can do their job.
Yeah, that's for sure. Now, obviously, what do you feel is the best individual game you've played in? Obviously, playing it now at your 4th club. What do you feel in the 58 games you feel has been your best individual game that you've kind of stood out in, you feel?
I mean, standing out as a small forward, you don't really, unless you're kicking a fair few goals. Yeah, you don't really stand out. Probably my game against Brisbane I can't remember what season it was, but I think I had close to 20 disposals and 3 goals. That's probably the best game. I haven't come close to that since. So yeah, I'm not really a stats person and don't really look at my stats too much, but when I saw more than double digits, I got pretty excited. So yeah, that one's been stuck in the memory bank for a while.
That's good. And that's very hard to get as a small footer these days, to get 20 disposals as well, and then kick 3 goals with it, and then everything else around it just makes it even more sweeter. Now, who do you feel loves the limelight, the attention, the camera, any of the teams you've been a part of, and they can't get enough, and they know exactly where the camera is to over-exaggerate a celebration or say something or try and stitch someone up, anything at all? Anyone that comes to mind?
Oh, someone that I know hates it is Soph Hurley, and she gets the attention all the time, but she can't stand it. I don't know. I don't think I've really played with too many that kind of love the limelight. Yeah, I don't know.
That's fair. I mean, Sophia Hurley, she's going to get a lot more attention in this space that you said that she doesn't like, considering how good she is. And then if she's going to keep the form up, she's going to get talked about a lot more than she has right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Sure. Now, you have kicked a goal the year before. So generally, every time I've asked someone this, they haven't won goal the year or mark of the year before. Now, I think I know the answer now, but mark or goal of the year, which one would you rather? Or would it be a mark, considering you've already got a goal of the year now?
Yeah, I'd love to take a hanger one day. I reckon that would be, yeah, I don't really get off the ground very often. So, yeah, that would definitely stay on the highlight reel if I was to take a hanger. So yeah, I'd say mark of the year now that I've already got the goal.
For sure. What's something someone does at any of the clubs you've been part of that you can't stand anything like scaring? But I know for a fact that the Swans, because I've seen them post it numerous times about trying to scare people all the time behind bins, behind walls, everything. I've seen a lot of the Swans in particular do that.
Yeah, in our first season, we did a lot of it. Brooke Lachlan was behind that and loves scaring people. I mean, I'm not too fond of getting scared. Probably if I'm in the pool or in the hot pool, because I don't go in the ice, but when they jump in the water, they jump in the water, like I can't stand that because I've got really curly hair and I straighten it all the time. So water gets on my hair and it goes frizzy, and everyone knows it. So sometimes if they want to be annoying, they'll just jump right near me. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, I'm pretty like chilled. So not a lot of things get on my nerves, to be honest.
Well, that's good. I mean, have you fallen victim to the scare in terms of around the corner or the bin or anything like that?
Yeah, I have. One of my housemates actually scared me in my room, which was not ideal. I don't know where I was coming back from, but she hid behind my door and scared me. But then
not the dark.
One of my no, it wasn't in the dark. I just went to shut the door and she was standing behind there, and then so she came out of my room after scaring me, and then one of our other housemates scared her. So it was like a little train. Yeah. But yeah, I'm usually a trickster. Like moving in, so I'm living with Chloe Malloy this year, and we both love to trick each other. So yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of content on the two of us getting up to no good of sabotaging each other, especially leading into round one, that's for sure, or whenever we end up playing them.
Yeah. Interstate trips. So you found interstate trips. Obviously, I'm sure you would to some degree considering you moved from Victoria down to Sydney clubs.
What was that? Sorry?
Interstate trips. Are you a fan of them? Obviously, moving from two Victorian clubs to then now join two Sydney sides.
Oh, it's not ideal. Yeah, interstate flying. Especially like during COVID, it was fly in, fly out. You get exhausted after being on a plane the whole time. Sydney, yeah, last year we were flying every second week. Didn't have any consecutive games in Sydney, so it definitely is tiring. I don't know how the WA girls do it because that flight is horrific. So hats off to them because it's not ideal. But yeah, it's just tiring. Like I don't mind. Like it's fun being away with the team and doing some bonding and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's definitely as you get older, you kind of just want to be in your own space for game day and whatnot. But it's fun and you play games before the night before and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's definitely tiring.
That's absolutely fair enough. Who's some players or teammates that kind of fly under the radar that you've been impressed by? They don't really get that attention as much as they should.
That's a good question. I'm obviously talking in past tense. While I'm with the Swans. Fly under the radar. There's a lot that fly under the radar. Far out. Well, I think Soph Hurley flies under the radar a fair bit. She's definitely especially from outside, not on inside through our four walls, but sometimes she doesn't get the recognition that she should. She's come a long way. Who else? Brenna Tarrant. Yep, she's I played with her at Melbourne as well. She has come leaps and bounds. Ella Heads, our defense was actually really good this year. Beck Privatelli had an outstanding year. I could literally continue to go on. Lisa Steen played really well this year. People that are consistent players that just do their role, like Paige Shepherd, she does her role every single week, and probably, she doesn't get the credit that she deserves, being that kind of defensive midfielder for the likes of Laura and Chloe. But if she doesn't do her role properly, they don't get the ball. So those sorts of players. I mean, I could literally keep going. Like there's so many players that fly under the radar. should definitely get some more recognition.
I like the list of names that you mentioned too, because they're probably the names that, if I was speaking, at least from Sydney, they are definitely the ones, because obviously Beck Privatelli, she was up there in the Coleman race at the end of the year, and you wouldn't know that from some of the outside, because you never really heard her get mentioned going, oh, she's a chance to win this, when she was, I think, 3 or 4 goals behind Sophia Hurley in that game. She got the rising star. I think it was against the Bulldogs. Kicked like 3 goals and 28 disposals, and I didn't hear much out of that, considering what a great individual performance for anyone, let alone at her age as well. And then BT, obviously an underrated key defender for a fair while now. And she doesn't, I've had her on a couple of times. She doesn't like pumping herself up, but she had a great year, and probably was, questionable to not, should have been in the All-Australian squad at least. And Ella Head's a good young key defender as well. And Lisa Steen, as you mentioned, doing the work, it's getting flown under the radar because those star mids are in front of her, well, at least from the public eye anyway.
Yeah, exactly right.
Now, obviously, at each club, I'm sure there's a chatterbox, someone who's loud. Who would you say is the best chatterbox at the Swans?
The best chatterbox.
Well, who's some of them?
The Hamiltons can talk to a tree, both of them.
Yeah.
Lexi and Cynthia. Chatterbox, Ali Morfitt, she could also talk to a tree. Like, there's so many girls that literally, like Sarah Ford, who was at the Swans, she literally could just continue to talk about nothing half the time. There's literally, like, there would be so many of them. Thankfully I lived in a quiet house, but some would say probably me. But yeah, I don't know. Depends what mood I'm in.
Who would you say is the loudest and quietest teammates that you had at Sydney?
Loudest is definitely Morph.
Yeah.
You can hear her from a mile away. And quietest, hand in hand, would be Paige and Laura. Neither of them you'll hear a peep out of.
Okay, interesting. If you were stuck on a deserted island with any teammates at Sydney, who would you want to be with, and who would you not want to be near? If you're stuck on an island with anyone, who would you want and not want?
How many numbers are you giving me?
As many as you want. You can name 5, 10, 2, a whole lot.
All right. Who I would want, Kate Reynolds is definitely someone up there. She didn't play much, or she only played, I think, 2 games in the first season and then got injured. But she is a queen at organisation, and like, she will have our whole days mapped out, even to a T of, I don't know, probably eating our own foot. Like, she would just have that to a T. Who else would I want? I'd want Chloe, because she just, like, we're just 2 idiots together.
Fair enough.
The Hamiltons, that both of them are both a laugh. Paige for her music taste. So if we've got some music there, yeah, I can't be left in charge of that. That's on her.
Yeah.
Who else? Probably Lisa. Lisa's got, we've done a bit of camping. So there's a group of us that went camping in one of our weekends off, and all the girls that I went with there. So Kate, Priv, Ella, Paige, Chloe, Spag was in there. KB, yeah, like, it was a great mix of people that I wouldn't want. I think Morph would get on my nerves just because she'd want to talk all the time. Who else? I have to put Soph Hurley in there. I'd want to bring her just because her quirkiness, and she's really bloody smart. So yeah, put her in there. There's no one, actually. I'll take Morph out. I don't think there's no one that I wouldn't want to go with, to be honest. I think, I love everyone's company there. So yeah, it would be hard to choose. Morph is just so loud sometimes it just deafens you. But otherwise, she can come. She can come camping too. You can't wherever we're going.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I mean, you can't leave on, as you mentioned, Morph. She wasn't the only one you mentioned before. So Morph, if you're listening, we're all good. Oh, sorry, we're colleagues. Now, defenders, they probably deserve a bit more love. Oh, I feel they do anyway. Obviously, with the with the Brownlow, it's obviously really centered towards mid. I don't care what anyone says; it's towards midfields, and sometimes ruckman nowadays are starting to get votes. Coleman's clearly directed towards forward. So, do you feel the defenders should have their own official title or award, or whatever you want to call it? Should they have their own form as well?
Yeah, definitely. The defenders do so much work, and definitely should get recognised. Absolutely. I don't know what you'd call it, but they definitely deserve the recognition.
They're probably the only figure on TV was the late Danny Frawley. Obviously, had his Golden Fist Award on bounce, and he was he is probably the guy that had an award for defence. I know it was kind of a piss take, but he obviously played as a defender and obviously cared about that position, and they should call it something like that as well. That'd be a nice name.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
Now I'll wrap it up. With a quiz, Aliesha. So I really appreciate you coming on. How well do you feel you know? Now, I normally do this with the club they're at. Because you've just joined the Giants, I'll have one, maybe two GWS players on here, and then I'll have an ex-Swans player. So how do you reckon you know about, in particular, your former Swans teammates compared to a few Giants girls?
I'm probably hands down going to say I know more about Swans than I do Giants, for sure.
I would think so, yes. All right, so we'll start off with the Sydney player, and then we'll do the two Giants ones. All right, so how it'll work is I'll give you two clues. You have to again guess who you think it is. If you get it wrong, we'll give you one more clue, and then you'll have to get it on that final guess. So, all right. So this Sydney player is a reliable defender, and they should have made the All-Australian team, but didn't. And I kind of just mentioned them before.
BT,
Brennerton, absolutely. So that's 1 for 1. Well done. 2 to go. All right. So this player won the Rising Star Award in 2023. They also kicked 5 goals in one game, along with over 20 disposals in that exact same game.
Zali Goldsworthy.
Absolutely. 2 for 2. Now, this last one will be very interesting. It might be a bit of a trick, but we'll see how you go here. All right. See if we can get 3 for 3. Okay. So this player has played actually, I'll leave that one last. So they're a small forward. They've played 58 AFLW games.
Is that me?
Yes, it is. Very good job. It's funny too, because generally, even someone had on earlier today, they stumped on the question about themselves more than they do about anyone else that I've had on. So it's interesting how people know more about their teammates than themselves sometimes. But you nailed it, Aliesha. I really appreciate you coming on. It's good having you on, and all the best at the Giants, and hopefully a long career at the Giants. It's the last club, and it's the most successful time for you at all the clubs you've been with so far. So appreciate you coming on.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
No worries.